Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mokonoman at YouTube with something a little bit different. With an anime con around the corner and my friend Railgun is V8 Power, known as Eddie, who drives Natasha and cosplays, wished to purchase Celty's Scythe from the anime Durarara, with a plastic cheap replica selling for close to $400. I offered to scratch build him one in basic PVC material piping, maybe foam car paint, at a much cheaper cost and a little bit of profit for myself. Mitre Box and Saw produces a 45-degree angle cuts perfectly for adjusting the bend. Standardized 25 and 32 mil PVC piping for plumbing was quite ideal and was chopped up in multiple parts to get that S-bend. Smaller diameter fits inside of the larger one to be used as a brace for all the different joints, and so the scythe can be dismantled in multiple parts for storage and transport. I utilized contact adhesive, the brand Selley's liquid nails, to glue it all together, as it's what I had on hand. I found it to be a very slow drying adhesive but quite strong, and it self-fills. After about 48 hours of hardening, Dremel and sanding cleans it up pretty easily. Wanting to keep my materials costs low, originally I was going to cut the blade out of plastic or foam, but found the materials difficult to get and expensive. I drafted up the design in Fusion 360 to the same length as the purchasable cosplay option and 3D printed it out of PLA, where the material is a simple $25 per kilo and didn't even utilize the whole roll, opposed to 3 times the cost in other raw materials. This was done in 2 parts to be assembled by glue. Drafting was ideal as I could get a beveled edge, a curved blade, a point, and engineer the thickness and strength that I desired. Glue to the pipe, and with canvas material wrap it around each of the joint parts so it would slot together well. Liquid nailed all in place and cleaned up with a Dremel. However, the adhesive was not strong enough to hold such a small bladed material together in one piece for a more functional item rather than just a decorative display piece. These 2 joints would break on a couple of occasions. 3D printing also has an annoying Z-axis line texturing. This was cleaned up rapidly by using a blowtorch flame to melt it in a solid piece. Test fitting everything together showed the right scale and held so far. Sanding and filler primer produced that smooth, ideal finish that you'd want to layer metallic paint and show a finished single non-seamed object. To save time and at the client's cost, I use super cheap auto filler primer rattle can, and from 120 to 1000 grit sandpaper to grind it back rapidly 24 hours later, and a second coat that got an ideal finish ready for painting. Bit of a disclaimer at this point, it's all a learning curve in making larger objects and things go horribly wrong. With a bit of force in sanding, it started to fall apart and had to strip back and burn off the adhesion glue and re-glue it. Just putting butt joints up against each other did not work out and needed to hollow out the parts for more glue to go inside for a much superior bond, and wire as a pinning guide for rigid strength. Sectional 3D printed cosplay props from professionals seem to have a 5 or 10 mil hole engineered in the center for the addition of a wooden dowel for structural strength. I shall do this in future. After a second round of sanding and priming, I gave the entire PVC pipe a light sanding to grip for the primer better, primed the entire project in sections, and used a metallic black from an automotive store straight off the rack in painting the whole thing for that really high gloss luster sheen. Easy and quick to apply, had a very nice luster with little effort and dried quickly to the touch. The blade was also ready and quickly painted up, not really seeing much evidence of the seam and issues, and the edge of the blade airbrushed with a higher sheen silver to show a cutting edge, revealing a finished prop. Excluding printing, I spent no more than 4 hours in a project that easily assembles and holds its strength together. It weighs just around the 1 kilo mark, quite light, and once brought to Anamanga past the weapons check-in booth that would be allowed to walk around the convention center. With a light amount of carrying and swinging around, it showed no issues or vulnerabilities. Eddie, the client, in his functional racing suit and helmet, also purchased from the salt mines, name of the studio hobby shop that I own that produced this commission, was very pleased and happy how his prop came out, and proceeded to have a photo shoot and posed with his car, later on bringing it to the event and receiving quite a bit of attention. Light damage did occur at the event, but that was also a good learning curve in how rough cons can be on this sort of equipment. I enjoyed the project and the process, and will return to cosplay in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. If you wish to follow Eddie on social media, his links and references will be in the description below. Catch you guys later. See ya.